Well, hello, fine folks. Welcome to another episode of Hold Up in Another Thing presented by Mixed Vibes Media. Y'all already know the vibes. I got some special guests with me, and I want to introduce these guests before we introduce the topic and also introduce something to them that they don't know. But first, hello, Shavonna. How are you doing?
Hello, Quentin. I'm finding you.
I am doing well. Hello, Ashley. How are you doing?
What's going on, Q? I'm doing well. And yourself?
I am well. I am well. So before I introduce this next person, and I'm glad I started with Shavonna, so I put siblings on each end of it. We're gonna have a conversation about sibling relationships. So started with Shavonna, my one sister. I'm in with my other sister. Hello, Ray.
Hey.
Ashley just got up in the middle because she's a cousin. It's okay though. Still love you say. But okay, so we're gonna talk about siblings. But here's the other thing that actually Ray knows, but Ashley Shavonna knows. This is my 100th episode of Hold Up in Another Thing. So,
Congratulations.
Woo! I'm clapping. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it up.
I was trying to decide if I want to do something special or just make it a regular episode, and my sister said just make it a regular episode. So, is that not what you said? You feel
I did.
Okay, I thought you was making a face. I was like, what you
no,
said?
No, I'm thinking.
And this goes back to a previous pod conversation. Actually, you said I'm gonna do what I want to do when getting advice. I took the advice this time. Don't happen often. Probably won't happen.
I was about to say, really?
It don't happen too often, but yeah, I give you kudos on that. You actually listened this time, so okay.
I did. And so, but that's a special episode. We're gonna talk about siblings and sibling relationship. I can't really explain why we having this conversation, but we having this conversation because of some things that me and Ray might have encountered. But so I'm gonna have Ray start off. Ray, not explain what happened, but explain your post.
Okay, so a while ago, maybe a week or two ago, Quentin and I was riding around and we was talking, and the conversation was so in depth, and he said, "Well, what would cause a sibling not to be there for their sibling?" And I said, well, we're abnormal. And he said, I don't think we are. I said, you hear and read about people all the time and sisters and brothers falling out over little stuff. Could be money, could be a car, could be a significant other. It could be anything. I see you very rarely see. I think it's rare to see a sibling relationship like ours. Granted, we do have our family has good, I feel like, and I might be wrong, good siblings relationship. Our family. I don't feel like there's and I could be wrong, in our immediate family, there is a rift between any of our siblings. There's some disagreements, but we all had disagreements. But I don't feel like it's to the point where what Quentin and I encountered. What we encountered was a sibling not willing to call the other one for no reason that we know of. And I'm sure they have a good reason, but as of right now, the reason that we was given was um, I just don't. And we had another person that we encountered that was like, I'm not going to go bend over backwards for my sibling. I'm not going to, let's just say, feed them, clothe them. I don't care if they're having a hard time. So Quentin and I both was kind of like, dang, these are separate situations, separate individuals. And I couldn't imagine not wanting to do what you want. And we both was talking to each other. And so that's where the conversation came from.
We encountered a lot of pettiness. That's what we encountered.
It's a lot. It was a lot of pettiness that we encountered, and it was over a course of days and different folks, but we was kind of shocked.
Yeah. So the question that Ray put on Facebook was it abnormal for brothers and sisters to be close? Just want to make sure I caught the post right.
I have to go back and look at it. I can't remember.
All right. Well, the question I want to pose to Shavonna and Ashley before we get too deep into it: do y'all feel like it's abnormal for brothers and sisters, or brothers and brothers, sisters and sisters, for siblings to be close? I say brothers and sisters because it's me and Ray, but is it abnormal for them to be close? Shavonna, what do you think?
Is it abnormal? That's a good question, because up until I don't know how long ago, me and my brother was not close. And we are 4 years apart. We live 2 hours away. We weren't close. So to me, it was normal for us not to be close. We've never been close. So,
okay. Well, Ashley?
I'm gonna say I don't believe that it is abnormal for a sister or siblings to be close to one another. I think that we have created an environment or where we seek out this notion that it is abnormal for people to siblings to get along. I think it's normal for siblings to get along, but I think in our culture we feed off of them not getting along, so that's what you see more of. But I don't think that it's abnormal at all. I think that it's absolutely normal for siblings to have relationships, and I mean, yeah, they may have their spats, but I think it's absolutely normal for that to be the case. And I actually think that there are more siblings that probably get along than don't, but I think we hear more about those that don't or don't talk to each other than we hear about those that do.
Right. Why? Why do you feel like it's abnormal?
I feel like it's abnormal because it could be, like Ashley said, it could be what I'm witnessing mostly. But I have witnessed people say, that person's dead to me. I have witnessed folks say, I can't stand them, you know. More recently, I've witnessed the pettiness of how far a person can go to be petty against their sibling. And, and Quentin and I laugh about stuff, but in the same sense, I'm like, I can't be that. I can't just be that petty. Like, I can be petty, but I don't think I'm petty I just, not with somebody that I love, but a lot of times I see where people is like, well, what's love got to do with it? Yeah, we was raised in the same family, in the same household, but I can't stand that be. Like, dang, it's got to be like it. So I've seen that more often and than none. I can't take my immediate family and look at them, because if I look at my immediate family, even on my father's side, they get along. Their siblings get along, right? My father and his siblings get along. And some of my cousins on my father's side, they get along. I can't drill down to every relationship and every uncle and cousin, but I can't take my family in account. I feel like my family is abnormal.
And that was the conversation that we had, and I was going to get to that point where I felt like brothers and sibling relationships are being close to me are normal. And I looked at it from people that's around me, as far as friends, females I used to date, like I said, family, co-workers. Like, I look at them and I talk to them, and brothers and not brothers and sisters, but brothers and sisters, and like I said, sibling relationships, them being close for the most part is normal. You do have people that don't talk, and like you said, dead to me situation. But to me, it's more so that are close. the point that I was talking about with Ray, and I think, well, actually, and Shavonna, y'all both speak to this. Our family is, just speaking for us, I feel like we have, because especially our intermediate family, because we all still close. We all spend time with each other. We spend quality time together. So I feel like we're abnormal, but I don't think sibling relationships sibling relationships are normal for people being close to each other. That is what I think. But so me and Ray, we have different dads, but we have the same mother. Actually, you have situations that's in the same scenario. Do you think that plays a part in it as to why, sometimes sibling relationships don't be as close?
Oh, absolutely. Your parents have everything to do with whether or not siblings are close or not. I mean, at some point as an adult, you choose whether you're close to your siblings or not. But I do think it starts with your parents, and it starts when you're young, and they can set the path as to how your relationships start with your siblings. But I think as you become an adult, it is on the adult siblings as to whether they want to establish that level of relationship or not. So I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
I do think that your parents have a lot to do with it. But I think at some point you can't be blaming your parents forever for the relationship or the lack of relationship you have with your sibling. At some point it becomes your responsibility and your sibling's responsibility and not your parents. But I think it starts off that way because when you're young, you don't make those decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily get to choose at 5 whether you're around your brother or your sister. That's on your parents or those adults that are your guardians over you and how that interaction happens. But at some point, you hit, 18, 19, 20, 21, you're an adult. So then you make that decision on whether or not you choose to be a part of your sibling's life and how that interaction goes going forward.
Mm-hmm. So, Ron, I'll pose the same question to you. Do you think that not the same parents in the same household, does that play a bigger part into it?
When you was asking Ashley, and I was thinking about it because me and my brother have different dads, the same mom, but we didn't grow up together. So I think that's why we weren't close. But then I was thinking about my kids. Their mom and dad been, we still together. They grew up together, but I don't think they're close. Like, I don't think Shavonna and Quan are close, which to my definition of close. I guess I would need to know what's y'all definition of close?
Yeah, because I was going to say it just depends on what your definition of close looks like. What does that really look like? And what's normal and abnormal? Because it could be normal that you talk to your brother or sister every single day. But in some people's case, normal for them is once a week, once a month, once at the family reunion. I mean, what does that closeness look like? And it looks different for everybody, truthfully.
Right.
Okay, so having that conversation, Shavonna, I'm glad you said that. Because now I'm linked towards Ray. Because they probably, in comparison to most, they probably are close. In a way, they are close. I do, now that I think about it, Ray, me and you probably are abnormal. We talk every day. We are abnormal. But take us out. I'm talking about just in general. I think sibling relationships are normal. But I do want to ask y'all this because I'm just gonna keep it real. This generation sleeps around. Just gonna say, you want to answer? Go ahead.
I got something. I see Ashley got something. I will say this, and Ashley didn't. Quentin, you and I, the move to Louisville brought us back closer.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't talk as much when I lived in North Carolina. Here, we do talk every day. We didn't have beef, never had beef that I'm aware of.
We had beef? What you talking about?
No.
Yes, we did.
Anyway.
I ain't want to talk to you for like a couple months.
I didn't know that.
So y'all so close that you didn't even know you had beef? That's terrible. Let's just put that
I didn't know that.
We had beef. We ain't told. I think Mama would be like, talk to your sister, and I'll be like, no.
Oh, well, I didn't know I had alt against me. But
Where do you be? Does my problems not matter to you? Just
I think somebody else did that. They fell out with me and I didn't know it. And I was like, oh well, we fell out? Yeah, we fell out. Oh, I didn't know.
Just math.
Uh, I guess I don't notice distance. I apparently I don't notice distance now. That's something I gotta explore on my own.
True. But yeah, I think you was living in North Carolina, and that's when, like I said, we didn't have beef. We just didn't talk every day.
Right. So I think that's what brought us closer. I talk to Mama every day, 2 or 3 times a day. Like I don't even know what we're talking about. Something could be going on outside, and I say, "Ma, did you see what's going on outside?" And she'll say, "No," which kills me, y'all. Podcast world, if you have someone in your life that is a self-proclaimed sees it all, but don't see it all, it's very, very annoying. Why did you see what happened? No, I didn't see it. Where was I at? Where was you at? I was sitting right here. No, you couldn't have been. But anyways, but I talk to my mom every day, so therefore our relationship changed. So what?
She was asleep in that same exact place. That's why she didn't see it. My bad. Go ahead. I didn't cut you off.
But we talk every day, but I think it's because of our location.
I mean, that plays a major. That's the reason. That's it. We spend we together all the time.
Ashley, yeah, you had something. Ashley had something to say real quick.
So I agree with you, Ray. I think y'all were close already, and you moving to Kentucky brought y'all closer. Because to me, the relationship, saying being a cousin and all, I get to see y'all's relationship, where the rest of the world can't see, right? So to me, there was always this closeness. Like, he knows he could call you and you knew you could call your brother. Like, there was no denying that. But how often y'all talk now, y'all are like closer than you were. Y'all, it was not that y'all weren't close, but the distance in miles brought y'all closer. Mm-hmm. And, for some people, they live around the corner and they probably don't talk to their siblings. I mean, truthfully, so, you know what I mean? So I guess I see it like what you're saying. Yeah, you moving closer, y'all talk a lot more. But I feel like even if y'all didn't talk for like 2 weeks, like when y'all did talk to each other, other than when y'all was beefing and you didn't know, Ray, I don't understand that. But, if y'all pick up the phone and y'all talk to each other, it's like y'all can pick up where y'all left off. You know what I mean? That's y'all can pick up just right where you got left off. No big deal. That's all I wanted to say. Because I observed y'all's relationship. I feel like you were just as close as before, but it's brought you closer, and y'all can spend more time together now because you are closer in proximity than you were before. It ain't nothing for him to just come by the house.
Or anybody else.
I take our trash out every Thursday.
Hey, speaking of today, you need to it got to go out tomorrow.
Today is Tuesday. I didn't know. I didn't know
tomorrow.
If oh.
To go out tomorrow because everything is overrunning.
I don't get paid for extra days. But anyway, so like I was about to say, me and Ashley's generation sleeps around. Which I think the generation before Tasha's generation slept around. With Tasha and Shavonna's generation slept around too. But me and Ashley's generation sleeps around a lot more. So do y'all
sleeps
think
around?
Yeah.
That's what kind of thing.
Like sleep like with different people everywhere?
Meaning they got a bunch of kids with a bunch of different people.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm ready.
Say that again.
They have a bunch of kids with a bunch of different people.
Oh, yeah.
So one guy have like 8 kids, or one woman have like 4 kids with 4 different or 3 different daddies. That's what
I think they still doing it.
Yeah, I mean, from me and Ash's generation go in back, forward. however you want to look at it, is doing a lot of sleeping around. Do y'all think that's going to continue to ruin sibling relationships, or not continue to ruin it going forward? Shavonna?
And I ain't gonna say it's funny you say that, but it's funny you say that because my grandson probably will never meet his sibling because of stuff like, that, they got same daddy, but because of the different baby mamas, one baby mama want to cooperate and one don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, I think it's gonna still be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
I think it is going to still be a problem, and as adults, we got to make better decisions.
Right.
Or if we do make a bad decision, when I say that, I mean, if you have a child with somebody that's uncooperative, like at some point, the person that's uncooperative or the parent that's uncooperative, male or female, at some point you got to mature up, because what you are causing is two children or multiple children not to have a family base with siblings that can support them, all because y'all don't know how to act.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or end up dating your sibling because you don't know it's your sibling.
I've seen that in a couple of shows.
That's pretty deep right there, Shavonna. But that could happen. Yeah.
Right.
I've seen it in a couple of shows.
I mean, my concern is like, maturing up at some point. At some point, you got to stop with the nonsense.
Right.
You got to stop at some point, and that's male and female. Like it's getting senseless. Really, it is.
I have seen where females have been, because the dad had like multiple kids with different women. The women had to show the daughter like, "Hey, that guy over there, you can't touch because that's your brother. You don't know it's your brother, but that's your brother." Right, same question. While you over fiddling with stuff and it's picking up.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm looking for chaps.
Did you continue to move it? Thanks. Anyway,
I'm sorry. Yes and no. If Quentin decides to have another child, and
I'm abnormal, so I think that would be a bad example.
If Tay decides to have another child, Shavonna, your grandson would probably be close to that second child. Mm-hmm. Now, he wouldn't necessarily be close to any of his father's offspring, but he would be close to his mother's offspring, Lord's willing. So it's a yes or no question, because the reason why I say that is because, as you stated, Quentin, earlier, we have the same mother, right? And just so happened, again, I think my family's abnormal. My father's family accepted my brother in as their grandchild, period. As their nephew. So when we take my aunt, who is married into the family, when we go over there and we grilled out, we introducing her to Tavion, and she automatically says, "Hey, I'm aunt." She doesn't say, "Well, she just plain and say, hey, I'm your aunt." So I think because of that, because of the mother, my mother, a lot of women and a lot of men, if they could bridge the gap with if they could bridge that co-parenting gap, then it could happen. You know what I mean? I could see it happen now because I've seen it in our family. There was no animosity. My dad has two other sons, and she loves on them like she loves on us. Uh, if they call, she prays for them, and she does all that stuff on Facebook and everything for them, and um, she loves them just like that. And the best of my knowledge, unless they lie, they love her just as well. And my dad nor his wife um, has ever they didn't put a wedge between their relationship that I'm aware of. They always welcomed me and and welcomed mama to a certain extent. It's still exes, right? But there was never a point where we don't talk to that person, you know. So I think it can happen. I pray it can happen. I've
Okay.
seen it happen.
I thought you was going somewhere else with that when you said my name because with men, men most of the time it's men's kids don't connect because the fathers
Correct.
are not as active. That's why I said I'm abnormal because I'm very active in my child who don't waste his life. And if I have more kids, they would be closer with each other because
Mm-hmm.
one, that's how I'll see, like you talked about. I see my aunts and my mom, and my uncles on my mom's side and on my dad's side. That's the relationship that they have. So I've seen it, and I think that's important because you got to take care of family. Then also mainly because I know the relationship that I have with my sibling. But a lot of times, like I was saying, I think fathers need to step up. The fathers does not because there's a lot of black fathers that's active. I want to say that. I think we get a bad stereotype, but I think the fathers that's not active or that's only active in certain kids' life needs to find a way around it. So for the benefit of the kids, because having a sibling is a benefit. It it's a powerful tool in your shed because they're here to help you. They can guide you. They give you knowledge, even if you don't listen to it. They give you knowledge.
Majority of the time.
It was not necessary.
Oh, you heard that?
Yeah, I think I did. I think everybody else did too. It's not necessary. Thank you. But it's a powerful tool because they can take out your trash on your nine trash days. They do stuff
Tomorrow.
for each other. And I think fathers need to step up and rectify that. Bring your kids closer together. Get all your kids. If you don't want to have a bunch of kids that you got to get together, they do. Trojan has these things you can use that might benefit you. Don't feel the same, but it costs less if you go in there instead of in her. Just gonna put it just straight like that. Like,
Wait, I didn't. I
Shavonna got it
missed
because
the
Shavonna
whole
home.
conversation.
No, listen. I feel like
I got all of it.
he put it out there to say, look, we got to make some better decisions. If we don't want to deal with this, then we need to do this over here, RayTarsha. This is what they said, Ray. This is what he was giving the warning. I mean,
I actually said it in a very political way.
we're promoting good habits if you're going to be out there involved with a lover. If you're that person that's going to be involved like that, it's time to do what Q said. Like, come on now.
I actually said it in a very political way.
Yeah, I
Very.
have to.
Make better choices. I'm saying if you want to sleep around, put a condom on. It's not that hard. This is very kind of simple. If you want to stick it in different places,
And this is the reality. If you don't want kids, just don't do it at all.
That's true too.
That part.
Just don't do it at all. I know that's not a popular opinion, but it is what it is. Listen, let me tell you now, you're gonna save yourself some heartache and some stuff if you just don't do it. Don't fool with them.
I heard
Some of
somebody
y'all know
say,
better. You already know you shouldn't fool with the person, so I don't even know why you still fooling with them.
and then that's the thing. A lot of y'all be having kids with people that y'all know y'all not supposed to be fooling with, that y'all should fool with, that y'all got problems with. Then this is where we go back into these sibling relationships do not happen because you had a baby with somebody you should be having a baby with.
Right.
Now
That you knew you shouldn't be having a baby with.
you couldn't
Male
stand.
or female. Let's put that out there. Male or female. Let's be clear.
You knew Keisha was a problem when you lay down with her. But yet you continue to lay down with her because you knew she was crazy. But now she don't want to let you see your kid. Well, you knew that was possible. Shorty, you knew Troy wasn't no good. he already got 3 kids he don't take care of, but yet you lay down with him again. Ain't your fault. But now you ruin, back to my point, sibling relationships. A lot of people got brothers and sisters that they don't even know about.
They sleeping with them.
I think we have emphasized that point at least twice tonight. Okay.
Just saying, I've seen it.
I think we off top.
I've seen it a couple of times on TV.
But I will say this: those of you out there that are not as close to your siblings as you could be, make the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Make the first step. What you waiting on?
But sometimes you get tired of making the first step.
But see, but your focus is in the wrong place.
No, it ain't. No, I disagree with that. A sibling relationship it's two-way street.
Just
because I want a relationship with my sibling, don't mean my sibling want a relationship with me.
Correct.
But you also got to understand that your approach might not be the approach for that person.
That's true too.
So sometimes you have to take a step back and evaluate how you're approaching that relationship. It's no different than you approaching somebody in your family that's right there, uncles, cousins, whoever. Everybody's personality is different. So maybe it's the approach. I'm just have you considered this is what I'm throwing out here for the world that's gonna listen. Have you considered your approach? Now I ain't saying force yourself on nobody. If they don't want to be bothered, you eventually take the hint. I recognize that too. You can't make somebody want something with you that they don't want it. And that's in any relationship. That's across the board. That ain't just with siblings. Let's go on and make this point. You trying to stay with the person that don't want you? Let it go.
Let it go.
Because you might not, somebody else might be better for you out here, but you trying to hold on to something that don't want you. Now, rejection is hard, but let's be real. On the flip side, it's the same thing.
That's true. It is.
Children and their parents.
Yep.
Grandparents, aunts and uncles. Like, I'm all about building the family unit back together. But at the same time, I do understand and respect what Q is saying, that sometimes people don't want what you want.
Right. That's true.
And there's 2 things I'm going to say to that. One, consider your approach. You can't be trying to dominate and force people to want to be in relationship with you. And 2, maybe it's not the right time for that established relationship. And maybe there's 3. There might be a situation where said relationship that you're trying to establish, particularly siblings, maybe they don't want it. And you do have to come to a level of understanding and respect for that, even if that's not what you want. Because eventually you will cause your own self-heartbreak because you're still trying. But I am a person that believes in building in family relationships. So if there's an opportunity for you to fix it, fix it. Not all of them excuses, why this and why they did that. If you still holding on to the past, you ain't gonna never fix it.
That's true.
Now I ain't saying be no fool. Be clear. I'm saying, but I mean, and there's balance. I mean, I just feel like there's balance to this conversation. Like, if you can fix it and let go of some stuff, let it go. Now, if you really know that somebody ain't changed, well, then now it's got to pray for you and let you go on about your way. But I think too many people have an opportunity to fix it and they choose not to, just to be stubborn, or because they just don't want to, or because they feel like they're the ones always trying. And all I'm good, I can go churchy. I think I'm about to go left right here. I'm so glad that Jesus didn't think like you and I.
That's right.
Because if he wouldn't have went through what he went through, because he didn't want to be the one, I'm just saying. Yeah, some of y'all may not be church folks, but I had to go there. It's okay.
All right. Some people need to hear some church stuff.
Every now and then, but I'm just saying, like, if you can fix it, fix it. But consider your approach when you're trying to build these relationships back. If you got a messed up relationship.
But so actually, I won't go back to you with this though. We talk about sibling relationships as far as different, not having the same parent. You have sibling relationships that, of course, y'all don't have the same parent because they're, I guess, step brother and sister. for lack of better words. How does those relationships form, and how can they be impactful?
So like step relationships, especially step siblings, they form by you just being yourself, really. And I think it's also about how you're raised too, right? So again, I guess, maybe it's been said that I have an abnormal family, but I just always been taught to embrace. So one of the things I think that helped me and my step siblings are the fact that we were just being ourselves and we were still kind of young. I mean, I was older than them, but we were still kind of young. And we learned to just have fun together. And we just learned to embrace each other as siblings, although we have different parents. We don't have the same mother or father. And I think the benefit of that is the more siblings you have, really, the more in a lot of cases, more resources you have, the more fun you can have. Every sibling provides you something different because their personalities are different. And I'm gonna say this: it's a choice. It's a choice. We choose to be like, that's my brother. Like, we know based on family lines that we don't have the same parents. I think the other thing is that we share other siblings because our parents got together and had more kids. And so when that happens, like, there's a mutual love for the other siblings too. Because we all know that the older ones, we know, you can't touch these younger ones now. We ain't having that. So there's this bond over protection over the younger siblings that we share. And then there's this established relationship that we just have amongst each other because we didn't let the fact that we don't have the same parents stop us from loving on each other, if that makes sense. I hope I'm being clear. We didn't let that stop anything. And so if somebody says, well, who is that? That's my brother. I don't got to get into all the details of, I mean, it's not necessary. That's my brother. That's all you need to know. You mess with him, you messing with me, and vice versa. That's all you need to know. And I'm in that same situation too, where I have another brother on my mother's side, and my father embraces him just the same. I mean, shoot, summer vacation, he was taking me and my little brother with us on vacation, spring break or whatever, right? And so luckily, it's all, to me, it's about the parents, man, too. The parents. If the parents don't tolerate that nonsense, then you kind of impose something on their children that they understand that they're still family regardless.
I wish I knew what that felt like, having a step parent that liked you. But anyways, neither here nor there. was that wrong?
Yeah.
This shot's fired. Shots fired. It really was. It really was. It really was. So let's talk about that too. Step parents, like, look, man, now I will say this. That is important though, Q. That is. I know I'm talking a little bit too much now, but that is important. I don't care if you're a stepfather or a stepmother. If you with somebody that has a child, then you need to accept that child. And you take on that responsibility, especially if you married them, to love that child just like that parent. And if you can't do that, leave that spouse alone. Like, that's a package deal to me. It will always be, because I am somebody's stepchild. I do have step parents. So if you can't love that child along with that person you're with, male or female, again, I say, then leave that person alone. Because you messing up children. You will mess up a child that way. And you're creating dysfunction in a child's life that don't have to be.
Right.
And if you don't know how that child is or their other parent is, those are questions you need to ask before you say, I'm going to be with you.
That's right.
Y'all don't be asking questions. You don't ask enough questions for me. I mean, you got to be invested in it.
They just hop in bed together. They don't ask questions.
Well,
they just hop in bed
together.
You
hop in bed, and guess what? Every bed ain't clean, so you might come up with bed bugs. So you better know what's up. You better know what's up. So step parents and all that stuff, like, listen, I ain't saying you're supposed to just deal with the unruly child. But you are supposed to work with that biological parent to figure out how to get that child some help and the right discipline.
Right.
But you can't just mistreat a child because they ain't yours. Like, I ain't about that. Like, that's some nonsense. That's some craziness. And parents, as those of you parents out here that accept that nonsense, dating people or marrying people that don't accept your kids, don't want to work with you to discipline them, they got to go. I said,
that creates,
I don't care.
And then that snowballs and that creates more problems because then that child grows up and then they think that that's acceptable and they continue to do the same thing. They continue the same patterns. At some point, you have to break the cycle. Relationships are important. You got to end. I think a lot of this boils into is you got to end the pettiness. Get over the pettiness and enjoy these relationships that you had. Even if you had hard times growing up, you ain't got to be that way forever. Because I know some siblings who fell out because they had hard times growing up. That's not y'all fault. Y'all have to separate y'all past to build a better future. Because now your kids is missing out on an uncle or an aunt.
Mm-hmm.
That too. Let me tell you, we need to talk about that.
Those are important relationships as well. I got a phone call from my uncle this morning, 7:00 in the morning. Had to make me cry on the phone.
I get a call from one of my uncles all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
But those relationships are important, though. Them uncles and aunties, let me tell you.
Because me and my brother, we are, y'all know it, but the world don't make my word. No way. We bowl with one of our uncles every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. And then another uncle.
It's funny you say that now that the season's over, but we do. But
we bowl with him every Wednesday. Every Wednesday.
We do.
And it's funny because he's a pretty good bowler, and he's got these two mediocre niece and nephew.
He has a mediocre niece and he has a horrible nephew. That's what he is. I don't understand.
And the thing about it is, he keeps wanting us to come back.
So mediocre and horrible.
Because for him, but you know what? The funny thing about that is, it ain't about what y'all do. He enjoys spending time with y'all.
Yeah, bonding time. Yeah.
Bonding time. He don't care about none of that. He just going out there and have fun, and he's excited that y'all want to do it with him.
Yeah, and he brags, and I don't know if you want to say brag is the word, but he constantly like, yeah, this is my niece, and this is my nephew, and yeah, this is so and so. Like, Quentin is not a people person, so he'd be like, hey, how you doing, and walk off. I ain't really a people person either, but I don't walk off as fast.
But yet you talk to everybody in the bowling alley.
Right? Can we stop with that?
In the bowling alley.
Can we stop with that?
We don't went to bars.
Yeah, she's been claiming that for years, but as you say, she know everybody. She know everything.
We done went to bars with some people. We supposed to go to a bingo with some people. It was offered some U of L game tickets at one time, wasn't it?
Because of Ray, correct?
Because she talks to people as a word. I talk to one person.
I go down and I don't even know where, and this is off the subject. I don't even know how this works. I go in, I give hugs, Shavonna, girl hugs. And I go in and speak to folks. I crack jokes with folks. I don't know where this came from.
You do it every week.
Every week.
But yeah.
So okay. Folks, what she always tell me, oh, they're gonna show up at game night.
Game night.
Okay.
I declare, I think I would turn it into you because I asked Quentin, I'd be like, can we invite so and so? And Quentin and Mom would be like, no.
This whole bubbly personality that she swears she don't have. But
right.
yeah. We just
one question though. I do want to talk to Shavonna. I got a question for Shavonna too. So
Okay.
the fact you mentioned earlier that you and your sibling, your brother weren't very close, and now y'all are. So like, how has that experience been for you? I think people need to hear that, like how that experience has transcended for you now, and where you're at with it now. Real quick,
It's
Q.
kind
I'm
of
sorry.
strange. It's kind of strange to me because, like I said, we weren't close, and now we talk just about every day or every other day, hours during the day. And I'm like, even he'd be like, "What happened between us? Why? Like, what happened? Why weren't we close? Or why this and that?" And I honestly think it was a division because of the parents. You know, we didn't live together. He lived with my grandmother, and I lived with my mother. We lived in Florida. He lived in North Carolina. And I'm a baby, so of course you know how that goes. So I just think it was just a whole lot of disconnect there. But now that I feel like we're close. We're closer than we ever been. Getting ready to go on 2 vacations together. And I am truly excited about experiencing these vacations with him. Because when I first moved to North Carolina, we were close, but then because I lived with him and his wife and kids, and then a disconnect came between us. And I think that was because of my mother and their relationship. And I kind of took on my mama's side and kind of pushed him away. So it has been truly, totally different. And sometimes I'll be like, wow. Because, you know,
So you're amazed. You're amazed at where y'all are right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad y'all have that relationship now. Ashley, I'm glad you have the great relationship you have with your siblings.
Ashley got a lot.
She got a lot.
She got y'all. She's got brothers and real brothers and sisters. She got a lot. Mom and dad and
she got a lot. She got a lot, right? I'm glad you.
Like I truly have a blended family for real. And but to say that too though, if you go up a generation on my mother's side, she's a part of a blended family. And I have a whole grandfather who's really my step grandfather, technically. But like you wouldn't even know that at a family reunion with us and the way that his family embraces my family, my mom, and like they're cousins. You ain't gonna tell them no different. So you talked about that generational thing from parents to parents. Like that can pass down too, even with step parents. If you do right, like and let your family embrace the kids and do all that, like my mom grew up with her stepdad's family. And so those are her cousins too. Right. I mean, and so when they see each other, they embrace her like that. So it can't happen. It can't happen.
I'll say something, Quentin. You know how you were saying about everybody sleeping around?
Mm-hmm.
Like, my dad has no other kids. My brother's dad has no other kids. My mom only has us 2. So we don't even have anybody but us. It's just us 2.
Yeah. It's just
that's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, that's to me, that's abnormal, normal, crazy.
Let's just end with sibling relationships are important. And I want people to remember that and progress with it. And get your kids together, get your family together. It's the 100th episode, so I do want to take a minute and thank everybody who's ever done the podcast. First off, I want to thank y'all 3 because you know my two has episodes is y'all with y'all. So thank you all, Shavonna. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All the times you come on, Ho, please is my favorite part. Just not gonna lie, it's just my favorite part. Ashley, thank you because you have done multiple podcasts. You can be a guest all the time on many different topics. We have our traditional year-end reviews, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me as well. I appreciate being a part of it. I enjoy the pod.
I appreciate it. Ray, somebody told me about podcasts that I would, I start stuff, but I don't finish.
I'm proud of you.
So that's one thing about siblings. They will give you some honest feedback.
Right? Whether you want it or not.
Whether you
I can't
ask
even
for
deny.
it or not.
I can't even deny the comment because every time you say it, it's like, dude, I did say that.
And it's cool.
Like,
and it was very motivating. Like myself, it motivates you. Because here I am now with the podcast that has 100 episodes. I have another podcast that's over 100. It's almost at 150. I have a sports podcast that's going to get close to 50, which I had previous iterations of the sports podcast. And I've been doing it for 4 years. And I've made a couple pennies off of it.
All right. Keep it
let me
going.
see
Keep it going. Keep it going.
if I can motivate him some more. Because he don't listen.
Are you done? Are you done?
That's something I say quite often, maybe once a week.
You do. You do very much so. Are you finished? But now, so
Maybe twice.
Well, anyways, I want to thank everybody that's ever done a podcast. Shout out Tish, because Tish normally be with you all. So shout out Tish. Shout out Will, Mr. Breakglass himself, because all I gotta do is text him. I can text him at 8:52 and do a podcast at 9:00, and he will show up. So Mr. Breakglass himself, that is my dog forever and ever. Shout out Joe. We do the hip hop stuff. Shout out Reddy. Oh, shout out Candace, because she done a bunch. Shout out Sheeta, our cousin, because she sends me topics. So even though she's never appeared, she sends me topics. So shout her out. Did I miss anybody?
Her husband.
I was going to say Dr. Douglas. When he's on this podcast, we make sure to say Dr. Douglas. He comes through. Shout out Javon, because he didn't come through. I feel like I'm missing people, but I ain't. Okay, cool. I think I got everybody. Shout out all the people out. Shout out Big Sam. Met through, and shout out Big Sam and Teddy. Shout out Teddy down in Houston. He done came through. Got to get him back real soon. I got to shout out Jersey Quag, because without them two, it's Mixed Babs Gang all day. Got to definitely shout them out. Got to shout out a special person in Nashville. Shout out Alex, because she motivates me. She pushes me. She gives me topics. She promotes this. She does all this stuff for free. Why she do this stuff for free, I don't know. At some point, I'm going to have to pay her. So, yeah. And then shout out to the person who I did like the first 30 episodes with. I can't be disrespectful. Shout out who with the freckles. That's all I'm gonna say. Shout out who with the freckles. Can't do it without saying that. But yeah, I made it to 100. Somebody said
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I think this is the passion cue, though. I think this is the passion, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. I love the conversations. I love talking to people. I look forward to it. I should have been. I ain't gonna lie. I should have been 100 a long time ago, but I took time off because, like I said, I had the iteration at the beginning. I didn't really feel comfortable doing it without said person, but eventually I got back to it. Oh, shout out City. Can't forget City. Oh, speaking of brothers, shout out Michael. He did when I first got back going. He was like a recurring guest. He helped me get to where I felt comfortable doing it. So I definitely got to shout him out. But yeah, that's it. And that's all. And thank y'all three for doing this podcast. And we shall catch y'all on the next time. This has been another episode of Hold Up in Another Thing presented by Mixed Babs Media. I have a whole company. Somebody said I wasn't going. Anyways, another episode of Hold Up Another Thing presented by Mixed Babs Media. Y'all already know the vibes. Shout out all the new podcasts. Shout out Act Accordingly. Shout out From Our Perspective. And then, of course, shout out Mixed Babs. And shout out Distant Combos. And we're going to catch y'all on the next time.